I'm going to confess that I love riding commuters. We spend a lot of time in the city, and this is the specialized format of motorcycles for that. And if they can be just a little bit more than that, they can feel awesome. And awesome is important. It's likely that your first ever motorcycle will be a commuter, and underneath that, it has to be a good tool. It's important. The Hero Xtreme 125R, though, it's far from boring and not far from being a good commuter. Given how simple commuters are, you might imagine they're easy to make. And Hero alone makes what, 400, 500,000 of them every month? But this time, with the Xtreme, they wanted to do something different, and this is supposed to be like a mini 150. To me, that sounds like marketing, and not very imaginative marketing either. But to fully understand what Hero's done, we have to look under the Xtreme's extreme skin. Because on city roads, in the corners, this motorcycle seems to have fun. And so do you riding it. And the only 125 I can think of that does that combination well is the TVS Raider. And that shouldn't come as a surprise because the TVS is the Hero's arch nemesis. Let's look at what Hero's managed. Ready? Around the city, the Xtreme 125R is in its element. This is a smooth engine and it only betrays a sense of strain when you really pick up the revs. And at that extreme, progress can feel a little bit slow and the noise will be evident. But on the way there, you'll discover linear, smooth, predictable performance which makes passing traffic easy. This motorcycle feels competent and rapid enough. To put that in perspective, all of the 125s do ace this test. Shine, SP125, Super Splendor, Raider, they're all good at this. They're also good at fuel economy, so is the Hero, expect say 10% less than the TVS Raider at best. And to me, that's the full discussion on performance because, for example, all of these 125s, they can manage on the highway, but it's not what they do best. If you're going to be out on the highway a lot for enthusiasm or work, I suggest you stretch 25,000-30,000 rupees and get a good 160 instead. The bottom line is that the Hero is vaguely sportier than its rivals on the performance front. It's not night and day. What you'll remember it as is confident and trustworthy, and these are good qualities for both your first bike and for a workhorse. And it's a comfortable workhorse too. Your feet are placed in a slightly sporty riding position, the handlebars nearly upright and surprisingly wide, and then a very good seat rounds out a good motorcycle that I think even pillions are going to enjoy. Hero has been doing some creditable suspension work, and the Xtreme is another example, and this time on a budget. The 125R is pretty good on good and moderately broken roads, and it keeps its composure even on much worse roads. Some credit is also due to these MRF tires. I know they look like an old pattern, but they're proving to be good and grippy in the dry and in the wet. I can't call the Hero the most comfortable motorcycle in the class just yet, but I am convinced that this will sit at or near the top for sure. The Hero Xtreme really surprised me in the corners, and remember, this is a class full of machines that manage corners reasonably well, at least. Hero says think of this frame as a scaled down 160R base model frame, the one without the Showa USD forks, and it feels like that is true. The Xtreme 125R reacts happily, quickly, and neatly to all of your inputs, and it always remains stable. So you always feel like I could have carried a little bit more speed around that corner, and that again makes it feel a little bit sportier than what's normal for this class. And remember, a commuter doesn't need enthusiasm, but it can elevate your experience a bit, and in the process, you might discover a love for motorcycles. I got to test this motorcycle on 2 days when it was soaking, sopping wet in the middle of my test phase, and I'm telling you, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I only slowed down when traffic around me had to because of the rains, but never because the 125R said enough. The confidence, the feel, the trustworthiness, that is very impressive for a 125 made on a budget. Part of that confidence comes from single channel ABS, which Hero is not required to offer by law, but the top model of the 125R, it's got it. I would still prefer dual channel ABS, but in this class, for the money, given the options, single channel ABS is welcome. And I like the fact that this system backs up one of the bigger front discs in the class, which happens to be friendly, eager, and it fits the nature of the 125R really well. Clearly, I enjoyed riding the Hero 125R. But should you buy one? That's still a tough question. There are things that you should definitely keep in mind. First, Hero service is not terrible, but the experience can be very challenging. The queues for service are extremely long at Hero workshops, which makes it frustrating, it makes it slow. And owners tell us this is definitely ahead of you if you buy one of these. Second, Hero's commuter motorcycles seem to do okay, but the premium motorcycles on the quality front haven't quite found their feet yet. They do have a hiccup or two here and there, and since Hero's listing this as a premium motorcycle, since it has a lot of new stuff on it, I'd suggest you wait a bit before you commit to buying one so that we know where the reliability levels are at. And third, let's get service and warranty out of the way. Hero warranties are excellent. 5 years, 70,000 kilometers is standard. It's hard to do better. You'll service the 125R every 3,000 kilometers or 3 months. And if you can, take this to the premium dealer. It's not clear whether you can or not, but if the option arrives, do that. They're going to be a lot less crowded. Today, the premium network is really small, but Hero is working on growing it. Where the Hero story takes an interesting turn is the design. This is larger than you expect, and that is by design. Remember, Hero wanted to build a mini 150R. That crowded LCD from the 160R, we didn't like that much, but it's here on the 125, and I don't think it's an asset. But the tank is wider than you expect. We already said the handlebars wider too, and you do very much have a sense of riding a machine that is larger than the average 125. And that's a good thing because the design is... what's the word I'm looking for? The design is odd. This feels like a heavily designed motorcycle, but not a good-looking one. There's a range of creases, folds, surfaces, planes, curves, finishes, appendages. It's an explosion of unrestrained chaos. And therefore, it's kind of busy. You might say that it is striking, fair enough, but it's not good looking. And still, you look at some of the details and you can see that once Hero design calms down a bit, once this sense of child playing with crayons gives way to a more steady hand, these guys can be building some good looking motorcycles. There's a reason why I'm saying this. The Hero premium product line has given us 1 Charisma, 2 Xtremes, and 2 440s. For each of these, there are powerful reasons to buy one and prominent reasons why you'd look for something else instead. When we did the Charisma View a few months ago, I said Hero is a super tanker making a turn, remember? I think that turn is going a lot better than I expected. Is it genius? No, definitely not. Is it amazing? Not quite. There is a lack of maturity in some of the stuff that Hero does. But if you zoom out a bit, the super tanker's wake, it's pretty smooth. Premium dealerships, expanding. Electrics, investments, partnerships, products, check, check, and check. Commuters, they're reasonably stable. Unfortunately, premium products are not quite there yet, but in every successive product, we do see glimpses of excellence too. The weaknesses are also obvious. Service quality, product quality, and a connect with the premium customer. And these are not in any specific order. All three need work right now. To be perfectly candid, I don't think super highly of all of Hero's premium products. Except for one of them, I do struggle to recommend them more often than I like. And yet, I am excited for Hero because I do think that the direction they're heading in is a good one. Back to this motorcycle, and I think the 125R is amongst the most fun 125s on the market. And it does that while keeping good basics in place: smoothness, comfort, efficiency, important things like single channel ABS. I think you're really going to enjoy riding this Hero. I just wish it was wearing better clothes. I suppose not all heroes wear capes and make them look good, right?